Stop using boring plain backgrounds for your content. In this video, I'm going to show you how to up-level your backgrounds from the perspective of a set designer so you can improve your channel. So once you have great content on your channel, one of the next things you can do is add a lot of production value. And one way to do that is with your background. So what we have here is at the Film Hub, we've designed a standing set in one of our studios for YouTube creation in mind. But you can have this same look at your home studio, and I can show you how to do it. That can be pretty cost effective. The first thing you want to think of when designing your background is what's the mood you're going for, what's the look. So if you have a makeup channel, you might want to think about going light and bright and airy. In this set behind me, we went for a more standard, dark, moody, LED light YouTube look. So first determine what's the best thing that's going to complement your channel and your brand. And then the next would be your brand colors. So you want to try to work those in, or at least complement your brand colors into the set. And you can stick with 3 or 4 maybe color elements to bring in, and that'll help, add value as your brand in your background. So when starting to design your space, we're assuming most people are going to be in a standard size bedroom, which is a 12 by 12. So what a lot of people do is they take one wall and shoot a lot of their content just head on to that one wall. So an opportunity that can up-level your set and make it look a lot larger is to actually shift your camera into the corner. So you have 2 walls, and it can add a lot more depth and a lot more elements that you can add into the space to add more production value as well. Another mistake that people make is standing right in front of the background. So if you pull yourself out, minimum 6 feet, 8 feet is the best, and put the camera in the corner as far back as you can, that adds a lot more depth and opportunities to add elements in. So when you're starting with your design and you're working on your walls, your backgrounds first, you want to start with your paint color. So the sheen that you always choose for any content or set background, as set designers, we always start with a flat paint. This way you can avoid any light reflection or reflections off the wall when you add different elements and lighting into the space. So going with a flat paint avoids all of that. The second thing is you want to add some texture. Adding texture to your walls instead of just painting all of the walls adds an opportunity where you can cast more additional lighting on elements that creates really cool shadows, and it just adds more texture and oomph to your back walls. So on a few ways that I've brought in texture into this set behind me is with the artificial boxwood panels. And these panels you can usually find on Amazon. They're about 20 inches by 20 inches big, and you can order 1 to 2 boxes of them and do a whole wall for maybe $150. The second thing that you see behind me is these 3D panels. 3D panels are a great way to add a lot of texture and really fun design to your space. Now these panels are a great thing to also bounce light off of and get some cool shadows as well. The panels you can find that I have up here, you can get at Home Depot or Lowe's has a great option. Now this is more on the expensive side, so if you're on a budget, you might want to stay away from the 3D panels, but there's other options you can do, like selecting molding at your local Home Depot or Lowe's or any department that sells those type of items. Molding is a great way that you can cut it up and make really fun designs on the wall. When it comes to designing and bringing in your props and your set dressing items, there's a few things to think about. You can think about your mid-ground items and your foreground items. And this also adds a lot of depth to your set. So on the side, you can see that we brought in a cozy little furniture area. We brought in a comfy chair, some soft fabrics, throw pillow, and a side table. That can be your mid-ground elements that you can design in. You can also bring in shelving as a great way to add a lot of props and fun set dressing as well. When you start with designing with a color palette and choosing different items, you want to try to stick with those 3 to 4 colors. Maybe they match your brand color or complement it, and that really helps stay cohesive with your design. For an example of this, you can look behind. We stuck with a few colors. So we went with a white with the wave panels, the blue painted wall, and the greenery. And then we also accented with a little bit of gold. So even when we dressed our bookshelf, we brought in those types of colors and didn't stray too far into different directions. You know, if you start pulling in reds or yellows or other things, that's an opportunity where you could possibly clash. So by sticking to those few colors, then you'll know you'll get something still designed cohesively, and the set will still pull together. Another big key element is thinking about lighting for your set. So when you start, if you're gonna go with more of a moodier look, you're gonna bring in a lot more artificial lighting with LED lights and different things like that. If you're going to go with more of a brighter, airier look, you might want to bring in more natural lights from utilizing a window in the space or the room that you're in. So when you're thinking about bringing in practicals, practical lighting is things like lamps or items that would naturally be lit up in the space, besides your key lights and other production lights that you would bring in. So balancing those things out in a space is a really good thing. So when we have the greenery behind me, we have just 2 practical lights shining down that we had in the space, wall wash lights. And then we added the lamp on the other side to balance out that natural practical lighting element in the space. You can also think about adding different prop lighting. So when you add in a plant or items on a bookshelf, putting small little LED lights into those spaces to light up those elements really adds a lot of character to your set. And then you can actually see those different elements, especially if you're going with a darker, moodier set, as you can see behind. Another aspect of designing is tweaking the set dressing according to the camera monitor. So you might place items in the room that look good to the physical eye or space plan for a typical setup, but then when you get behind the camera and you look at the monitor, it could not look that great. So you want to tweak items by, looking into the monitor. Oh, I have a gap right there. I need to shift that whole seating area over to fill this empty space once you get it up into the exact frame that you're going to be shooting in. And you can tweak foreground items too, like if I wanted a plant on the desk or something like that, placing it and just shifting it as you look into the screen to get it into the right direction. So a lot of it is adjusting things for the camera frame. Some things like the lamp might look crooked, me physically looking at the space right now, but on camera, we've actually shifted it to where it looks straight. So all your set dressing, the rule of thumb is to always check your frame and adjust it for camera angle of what's gonna be the best. And still pulling those items away from the wall also adds a lot of space and dimension as well. So now you have the creative tips to help you be successful in designing your own set for your content creation. So just remember those few little things, your space planning and your background, foreground, and midground items, your color lighting that you use and how you're going to light up with practicals, and also sticking to 3 to 4 colors and consistently having those throughout the space. And you can have confidence in knowing that you can make your vision come to reality.